Hey guys, so I'm actually re-recording the intro to this video because cutting gold is super hard. I kind of fumble my way through it in this episode, and you're gonna see that. And I'm not gonna change or edit things. It doesn't make me look very good. I've been doing this a long time. I'm pretty good at my job, as evidenced by all of the other videos on this channel. But cutting gold is it's some real work. It's difficult, and I struggle with it in this episode. So I just wanted to preface that for you. But I'm sharing everything that I possibly could share on this topic to get you guys at least pointed in the right direction. But it's definitely going to take some work on your part to perfect these settings, especially for your machine. Now, with that said, we do make some good progress, and everything that we wanted to cut out in this episode, we ended up getting it out. It's not perfect, but we got it cut out. So it's not a total and complete failure, but there was definitely some struggling going on. So I welcome you to this episode. Thank you so much for watching, as always, and I hope you learned something about cutting gold. Let's get started. So if you guys want to start cutting gold, you're going to need one main thing, and that's going to be something to hold your gold or your other material in place while you're cutting. Now, you could go for one of these super expensive material holders, these like cutting beds from China. They are still really expensive, even though they're from China. The shipping is expensive, and they're not that complicated. It's mostly just two bars that hold a piece of material in place while you're cutting and keep it from warping. Now, you could go this route, and if you're getting really hot with your cuts, you may need to go this route. Otherwise, you might have warping issues, but I recommend something like this. This is the Panavice. This is the big base, the normal standard Panavice base with the circuit board holder junior attachment. They do make a larger one that you can use as well if you have a really big sheet of material, but the junior one is great for our gold needs today. It's got a couple rubber teeth on here, and you'll see it can move all about on this base. We have a lot of different degrees of motion, and the smaller head has a bunch of different degrees of motion as well. You can take your piece of gold and set it inside and lock this clamp here, and that'll lock it in place. If you want to open or close the jaws, you just press on these little pads right here, and that'll allow you to slide the jaws around on this bar. And this is going to do a great job holding our piece of gold in one place while we cut it. So with that set up, we can jump over to EasyCAD and we can start talking about settings. So let's say for a minute we want to craft a piece of jewelry or something out of gold. I have this simple little heart vector here, and there's a couple ways we can handle this. The first way would just be to draw a couple ellipses a certain size, right? You know, maybe something like this. And we could even set this to white just so that we can see what we're doing. And drop it maybe like here, and another one here. Okay, that's ugly, but I think you get what I'm saying. We can come over to Pathfinder and trim this out. Where's trim? There it is. So if we hit trim, right, and ungroup, then we're going to be left with something we could put like some chains through or whatever. But I want to get a little more complex and maybe elegant with our design. So let's maybe say that we want something in the center, right? We can center these up together, and then we can grab yet another ellipse here. Maybe a little bit smaller, something like this. And of course, if you're measuring, you would measure for your chain or however you wanted to display this piece or mount it in general. But we could drop another circle there, and then we can select all of this stuff, and we'll just grab our shape builder tool, and we'll just build out this ring just like that. And you can go ahead and fill the circle if you want to, kind of like this. And now we can pull that out, and we've got this perfect little shape right here. I did miss just that little piece of white right there, so let's actually go back. Let's fix it. I'm feeling like a completionist today. We will grab our shape builder tool again, and let's zoom way in so we don't miss anything else. And let's just connect those shapes there. So that's perfect. That looks great. So now we can delete this and zoom out, and we've got like a nice little shape here that we can use to cut. So let's go ahead and pause here and jump over to EasyCAD, where we will talk about our cut settings. So we're in EasyCAD 2, and I've gone ahead and imported our little custom heart shape here. So we just have our little hole and our heart. I've set it to about 20 millimeters wide, which is a little less than our 1-inch piece of gold that we're going to be cutting. You'll recognize the gold. It's from the How to Engrave and Do Photos on Gold episode, is the Ultimate Gold Engraving Guide. If you haven't already watched that episode, I'm going to go ahead and throw a card up here for you over there. It's gonna over that way, so go watch that too, because that's a great episode if you're into gold. But we are cutting today, so we've got our little 20 millimeter heart here, and let's just review our settings. So we're gonna be running at 20 speed. That's pretty slow, and 90 power, 25 frequency. Now you might have to do a little research if you want to get the fastest cut. Every laser source has a frequency at which it outputs the most power, okay? And on mine it's at 25 kilohertz, but yours may be different. So do a little research on the laser source inside your machine to find out what frequency you should be cutting at to get the most power out of your laser source. Now we're not done yet. Usually we just set speed, power, right, and frequency, and we're done. But today we're going to be jumping into our advanced parameters. That's right down here underneath our different parameter settings. So if we go ahead and click that, we can see there is a new setting here that we don't talk about very often on the channel, and that's called wobble. And we're not going to get too into wobble today, but you do want to turn it on. And basically what it's going to do is, instead of cutting something in a straight line, it's going to spiral your cut line as it goes, and that really assists with the cutting. It kind of increases the area in which your line is going to ablate, and it gives you a faster cut. That's all you really need to know in order to get started with this. We're going to start with a pretty small wobble here. We just need enough to get through the gold. So we're going to start with a diameter of 0.1 and a distance of 0.1. So the diameter of our spiral is going to be 0.01 millimeters, and then each spiral circle is going to be 0.01 millimeters apart. That's a very tight wobble. So our spiral is almost going to look like a straight line. It's effectively giving us a thicker cutting line. And that's going to help us get through the gold faster. And trust me, you want to do this, because if you don't turn on wobble, cutting through gold is going to take longer than it's already going to take us. And it's going to take us a while. This is a slow job. This is no fast task. Okay, so with our wobble set, we can go ahead and hit OK. And we are going to get our gold and set it up in the machine. So like I mentioned earlier, you just want to pull these little tabs and spread the arms apart, and then you're going to take your piece of gold and set it inside the rubber grips. These rubber grips are pretty heat resistant, so you don't need to worry about the gold heating up. And then just pull the tab again and close them shut, and you're going to be good to start cutting. You want to make sure that this is really level. So if you need to grab a level, you need to stare it or something like that. There's a link down in the description below if you need to stare it, but I'm going to grab my stare it here, and we're just going to level the thing up really quick. And once we are happy with our leveling job, we're going to go ahead and start cutting. It's really slow on gold, guys. Gold is extremely reflective, and a huge amount of the photons that we're throwing down at the gold are simply going to reflect away. This means a couple things. One, the job is going to take a really long time, and that's just the way it is. If you want it to go faster, buy a higher powered laser. Number two, it's dangerous, okay? We don't want to be standing over the gold. We don't want to be looking in the general direction of the gold without safety glasses. So make sure that you put your safety glasses on before you're looking at this, or even in its general direction. And if you really need to look at it and you don't have safety glasses for some reason, stop the job before peeking at the laser. Okay, this isn't a joke. It's very serious, and you're risking your eyesight by looking at this while it's running without the proper eye protection. So please make sure you use eye protection when engraving something, especially when it's something with such a high reflective property. All right, it's really dangerous. So with that warning said, let's go ahead and begin the cut. So many of you guys have asked me for a video on cutting gold with a fiber laser, and it is a pain in the butt. Not gonna lie, it's really hard. Gold is super duper reflective, and the melting point is really low. It's such a soft metal. And what I've found in my testing is that you're going to deal with a lot of warping, and you're going to deal with a lot of heat damage, and you're going to deal with just, I mean, there's just all kinds of problems. But I'm going to run you through what I did so that you can reproduce this, improve maybe. And if you guys have any suggestions on how to do this better, please leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. In my test, basically, it just gets so hot that the gold almost instantly dulls. And if I wanted to cut these without dulling the gold or warping it or essentially melting it, I would have to take like a 20 or 30 minute break for every 5 minutes of cutting that we did, which is really what makes it difficult. So as you can see, I'm using the Panavice circuit board holder junior. I thought it would do well because it's done well for me on some other metals like aluminum and brass in the past, but it's just not holding the gold firm enough, and we are experiencing a lot of like melting of the gold, so it's bending under its own weight. Now, it wasn't a total failure. The gold itself did end up cutting most of the way through, and I could get it the last mile with just a couple pairs of pliers, and you could actually like snap it out. So you can get it to where you can get it out of the scrap piece there, but it's rough. There's rough edges. It's definitely got some carbon. There's definitely a lot of like burning going on, and the edge is very, very rough, but you can get it out. I did end up using just the precision screwdriver kit to use the round bit as kind of a punch to punch out the center holes on these. So that worked fairly well, but I don't have any jeweler skills, so I can't finish or polish these up in a way that's going to give me a final product I would be able to give to a customer. You would really have to be talented in jewelry making and like goldsmithing if you wanted to get a usable result with the settings that I'm using here today. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible and that it can't be done. And I'm really, again, I'm looking forward to feedback from you guys on exactly what we can do to improve this process. This is just with the time that I had to experiment with cutting these gold pieces. These were the results that I got. Here's a few time lapses of the gold cutting, and I can throw those up on the screen for you along with labels as far as which golds are cutting when, and you can take a look at those. And the 10 karat yellow actually cut right out, so that came out perfect, and unfortunately I didn't film that, but the 10 karat gold worked really, really well. It still has kind of that burning rough edge, but the gold itself didn't bow or warp at all. The 14 karat gold, however, yellow and rose, there was significant warping of the scrap gold, the outside piece basically that wasn't the heart. There was definitely some significant warping going on while cutting, and as you can see, it's totally dulled the gold and left a lot of kind of burn marks on that edge. Here is our 14 karat yellow gold, and I just want to show you how I'm kind of breaking these out. So I'm just grabbing them here with the pliers, and what I really end up having to have to do here is we're just kind of bending and then popping them out. So you can see there we do kind of get a pop out up in that top corner too, and we're just going to kind of work it out really slowly. And this is how I've had the most success. So I'm literally just kind of like popping them out once I get them most of the way, grabbing them in kind of like strategic locations, and then bending where possible to try to get this removed. And there it goes, it popped out, and there's the cutout. Okay, so we can go ahead and set this aside. And again, this is our 14 karat yellow. I had very similar experiences with the 14 karat rose, where you had to kind of bend and pop to get it to come out. The edge is fairly clean though. This is actually not bad. I thought that it would be a lot worse, and that looks pretty good. Over here we have our white gold, and with the white gold, the first thing that I want to do is I want to get the centerpiece out here. Now I may be able to just do this by hand, we'll see. And nope, it feels like it's going to be a little stubborn, so I'm just going to grab my pliers here and grab the gold and kind of use the table for leverage. And we're just going to try to pop this through. We should be able to get it to pop right through here if we are careful and slow. You just want to get as much leverage on it, and yep, there it goes. So as much leverage as possible there on the white gold, and we got that to pop out. And then this feels very close to coming out on its own. I feel like, yep, there it is. So we can go ahead and pop that out now. And there's the white gold setting. Let me grab the pliers here so you can get a good look at the edge. So there it is. It's a fairly clean edge as well, but it is going to need a little work. You can definitely tell there's some burring up here that needs to be dealt with, but it's white gold nonetheless. Now, these aren't terrible. They're not awful, but like I was saying, they're going to need some work and a professional eye, which I am not, right? I'm not a goldsmith. I'm not a jeweler. And this in the hands of a goldsmith or a jeweler is probably much more useful than it appears to me. So again, I wouldn't really recommend these settings to someone who didn't know what they were doing, but if you are a goldsmith or a jeweler and this looks like something that's usable to you, go for it. I hope that this helped out at least a little bit. So we've got a speed of 20, a power of 90, and a frequency of 25 with our 0.001, 0.001 wobble, all right? And for the 10 karat yellow, the 14 karat yellow, and the 14 karat rose, we did 500 passes. As for the white gold down here, the white gold was a bit easier, though we still have a pretty rough edge. 14 karat white here, 250 passes with the same settings, okay? So again, that's 20 speed, 90 power, 25 frequency with a wobble of 0.001 and 0.001. One last look at each of these pieces here. Let's just take a look. So here is 10 karat yellow. This was by far the easiest to work with out of the bunch. We definitely got the cleanest edge on the 10 karat yellow there. Here is the 14 karat yellow, and the 14 karat yellow was definitely the hardest one to get through. It isn't the roughest edge in the world, but it took a really long time to kind of make our way through that one. And then the 14 karat rose here, you can go ahead and take a look at the 14 karat rose. Still a pretty clean edge, but just so much dulling of the gold. So that's kind of rough. And the white gold here, if we just grab this and we can take a quick look at the white gold. The white gold is definitely the most burnt out of the group. It's got a lot of kind of just like burnt edge around the outside there, but it is cut out. So I mean, did we succeed? I'm not sure. So after all that, what have we learned today? Well, we've learned that cutting gold is really difficult. I've been doing this a long time, and I'm really good at a lot of the stuff that I show you here on the channel. But this has been just a supreme challenge for me. And while we did get every single stock that we tried to cut, we got cut out with the exception of the inside of that one piece of yellow gold. We didn't quite make it through on our little hole there. Everything else we got out. And, you guys, again, I'm not a goldsmith or a jeweler. You let me know. Is this usable? Is this what you would consider a good cut? And if so, how would you finish this? Because, I certainly wouldn't want to give anybody any gold that looked like this. So what steps would you take to finish it, and why? And if you have a way to improve these settings, you've got some tips or tricks for people that might be watching this video, please leave a comment down below and teach us the right way to do it. It may be a while before I've got a whole bunch of money's worth of gold sitting in front of me to make an update on this video, but when that time comes, and eventually it will, I'd like to be better prepared. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you have suggestions on how to improve this process. Again, special shout out to Benchworks for sending us this gold. It's really been a blast to have and use. They are the reason we were able to produce the ultimate gold engraving guide. If you haven't seen it, there's a link down in the description and you can go check that video out. That one came out really nice. That one we have a great range of settings for you. It's awesome photos, awesome engraving settings, so that should really help you out. Hopefully more than this one, but this was a great learning experience, and I know that you guys don't necessarily have access to just buy giant sheets of gold, because this is a lot of money sitting in front of me here. And again, it is on loan from Benchworks, so thank you for that. But I do have to pack this back up and mail it back out to Benchworks so they can melt it down and hopefully get some of their money back that they spent kind of sponsoring this episode with the material. So I really do appreciate that. If you got value out of this video, again, it didn't come out perfect, but if you got some value out of it, or maybe learned something during the struggle, smash the like button and let everybody else know that the content is good. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you get notified the next time we upload a video. this is your first episode, go watch like literally any other episode where we do things really well. And you'll find that it's worth signing up for the Patreon. Over 390 people find enough value in the channel here that they've already signed up to become patrons, and they're supporting the channel so we can continue bringing new episodes to you and teaching new things and going through new struggles together. So if you want to support the channel, check that out. It's patreon.com/lasereverything, and there's a link down in the description that'll take you to the page where you can see all of the awesome value that you get for being a patron. We do multiple times a week bonus Patreon live streams, which are really great. We just let the live stream run all day in the shop while we're working on normal jobs for people, and we get you bonus episodes of the Laser Source podcast, and those are just like amazing. I'm really proud of the podcast and the hosts that have been helping me out put that on for you guys, so don't miss the bonus episodes, and instant access to my entire fiber laser and CO2 laser library, along with a bunch of other stuff that makes it well worth your while to support the channel. And I appreciate every single one of the patrons that continues to back me as we kind of stride into the future here, trying out new and strange things. While you're down there checking out the link to the Patreon, don't forget to click the link to the Discord. It's our amazing online community filled with laser enthusiasts. These guys love talking shop. They love helping people that are new. So if you need help and you're new and you're not sure what to do, check that out, because that's going to be an invaluable resource for you going forward. And I think that you're really going to enjoy it. A lot of people that are in there tell me they consider it their second home, which might be a little extreme, but I am grateful for them. I'm so glad they love the community so much, and I'm sure you will too. So don't skip out on the Discord. Well, like I said, guys, I've got to get this packed back up and sent back out to Benchworks. I'm not comfortable holding all this gold anymore, and we need to get it back to them. So I'm going to go do that right now, but don't worry, we've got more episodes coming for you really, really soon. It's autumn, which means more autumn-themed episodes. It is the best time of the year after all, and I will see you in the next one.